Hey there, quilter. Welcome back to Loose Threads and Stitches. This is our quiet corner of the internet where we talk about quilting and all the real life stuff that goes with it. I'm your host, Kristen from ISeeStarsQuilting.com, and I am so glad that you're here with me today. Sit back, relax, grab a good cup of tea, and let's chat.
Okay, so I need to start with a confession that is genuinely embarrassing in the most harmless possible way. I have been a Coke Zero person my entire adult life. Like, that was just a fact about me, okay? The way some people are coffee people or tea people, I do like tea as well, but I was a Coke Zero person. I don't drink coffee. I barely drink anything other than water and Coke Zero. It was just who I was. Kristen, quilter, YouTuber, creator, Coke Zero loyalist, okay? And then a few weeks ago, completely on a whim, I grabbed a Diet Coke instead. It was actually kind of an accident. I wasn't looking what I was doing, and I drank it anyways, and I liked it. I know, okay? In the grand scheme of things happening in the world right now, this is not newsworthy. But here's what got me. My first reaction wasn't just, oh, this will do. My first reaction was, wait a second. How long have I been wrong about this? I didn't think I liked Diet Coke. And that question is actually what I want to talk to you about today, because I think it's more interesting than it sounds on the surface level. How many things do we walk around believing about ourselves that we haven't actually checked in a while on? I'm not a morning person. I don't like spicy food. I'm terrible at math. I'm not creative, like in the math way, okay? It's just not who I am. I don't like seafood, etc. We say these things, and somewhere along the way, they stop being observations and they start being identity. They become the story that we tell ourselves and other people about who we actually are and what we do and what we don't do, what we like and what we don't like. And most of the time, we never go back and check if they're still true. The Diet Coke thing is super small, and yes, it's silly, but it cracked something open for me because I had realized I had been walking past Diet Coke for years, actively not choosing it based on a preference that I formed so long ago. I couldn't even remember forming that direct opinion about it, and I just started wondering, what else am I doing that with in my life? Here's where it gets quilting relevant, right? And I promise this is a good one, okay? For years, I told myself that I was not a paper piecer. Not foundation paper piecing, not English paper piecing, neither. I had decided it felt too rigid. It felt like too many rules. The thought process was completely different from anything else that I did at my machine, right? You're working in reverse, essentially. The fabric placement is counterintuitive. You can't always see what it is that you're building and why you're building it, right? You can't see what's happening all of the time unless you practice and you get good at it. I didn't want any part of it at all. And then I fell in love with this violet craft pattern. If you know foundation paper piecing, you probably know who Violet Craft is. You know her work. You know she makes these breathtakingly intricate patterns. And the one that got me was her abstract elephant. A giant, gorgeous, impossibly detailed elephant made entirely out of paper pieced blocks. You may have seen my elephant around the internet, okay? Was it beginner paper piecing project? It absolutely was not. Was it probably the worst possible place to start for somebody who'd never done paper piecing before? Yeah. Did I start there anyway? Obviously, because I'm me, right? And here's what happened to that quilt project. For weeks, honestly, probably more than months, I was sewing pieces that looked like absolutely nothing. We're talking like little wedges and angles of fabric next to giant wedges attached to paper. No sense of gratification, no preview what is coming. Just trust that eventually it would become something that resembled an elephant in some form or another. And then one day I got to the assembly step for the blocks and I saw it. It was a toenail. An elephant toenail, a tiny little purple toenail on the foot of an elephant, and then another piece clicked in and I could see the curve of the trunk. I could see the pattern on the trunk, and slowly this pink and purple elephant, because of course what other colors would it have been, it started to emerge. All of those little pieces that had looked like absolutely nothing in the time when I had been working on them. And I thought, I was wrong. I was so wrong about this. I actually really enjoy the exactness of this. Not just about paper piecing, but about myself and realizing that I can do hard things. The thing I thought I would feel rigid and like rule bound turned out to be the most precise, one of the most satisfying sewing sessions that I've ever done. The rules, they're not walls, they were scaffolding. And the thing holding the whole structure together, if you'll follow me on this analogy, is so that when it was finished, every seam was perfect and every point matched. And the whole thing looked like something I couldn't have imagined making in my wildest dreams. Yet I did. I became pro paper piecer after that day, and I had almost missed it entirely because I decided years before that I wasn't a paper piecer. So here's the question that I want to leave you with today, and I want you to actually sit with this, not just let it like wash over you, okay? What is something that you've decided about yourself that you haven't checked lately? It doesn't have to be profound. It can be as small as Coke preference. It can be as creative as quilting technique that you swore that you would never ever try or never try again. It can be a style of music that you dismissed in your 20s that you might actually kind of like now. A type of book that you decided wasn't for you. A cooking style, a hobby that seemed like too much work before life taught you what too much work actually means. It happens to the best of us, right? We are not the same people we were when we formed most of our opinions about ourselves. We've lived more, we've lost things and gained things, and we've been changed by things we didn't see coming. And some of that old data, the stuff that we collected about who we are and what we like and what we're capable of, some of it just isn't current anymore. This invitation isn't to overhaul your whole identity, because I don't want you to do that. You're beautiful the way you are. It's just to encourage you to stay curious, to occasionally grab a Diet Coke and see what happens, to try a paper piecing pattern that scares you just a little bit. Maybe not the entire elephant, okay? But I want you to check in with yourself the way that you check in with a friend that you haven't talked to in a while. Just see where you're at, what's new. You might be surprised by who you've become. If this episode made you think of something, a belief about yourself that you might need to revisit, or a quilting technique that you have been avoiding, I would genuinely love to hear it. Come and find me on Instagram or leave a comment on YouTube and tell me what your version of the Diet Coke moment is. I'm going to call it that, the Diet Coke moment. Tell me what your version of that moment is. And if you're not already part of the Stitch Sister Inner Circle, it is my little membership community, and it is full of so many women who are actively figuring this stuff out every single day together, one quilt at a time. The link is in the show notes for this podcast. I would love to have you join. There is a 14-day free trial for the membership. I encourage more quilting, less guilt. I love you so much. I'm Kristen with ISeeStarsQuilting. I'll see you soon. Bye.
And that's a wrap on today's episode, my friend. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day here with me. It truly means everything. If you've loved today's chat, please follow this show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts so that you never miss an episode. And if you have a spare minute, leaving a review helps more people find their way to this cozy little corner of the internet. I read every single comment that you leave on this podcast. It means so much to me that you take your time to hang out with me. If you're more of a YouTube person, you can come follow me over there too. There's a whole lot of quilty goodness waiting on YouTube for you. I'll talk to you next week. Take care of yourself, my friend. I'm Kristen with ISeeStarsQuilting.com. Have a great week. Bye.